help you? Is this your first?
No, yeah, I've been here before. Yeah, I know what. Oh, you got my. I know I was here yesterday, but it's the last time here for a while, so I just want to.
Room 3, pay first.
Sorry. Should have read that first, actually. Let's see if I got some. Here we go.
That was a really great piece that worked both in a visual level, but most importantly on a thematic and emotional level. I thought there was a really interesting blend between the concept of taking pictures and photography, especially in this setting in which it's not always digital photography, but the more traditional form of photography, and the concept of memory and the past, and how you deal with concepts and ideas from your past, and whether or not memory is useful, and especially in the form of photographs or pictures, or whether or not it's sort of holding you back and trapping you in the past and taking away your ability to progress on an individual level and on an emotional level. I thought the piece really had great visual and cinematic cues that matched that with a very mundane setting, even though it was matched with a sort of very sinister and dark construct with everybody in the room with them, the wires lined up on them. And I felt like the concept of just trying to escape and break out of your past was really well balanced with the conceit of photography and pictures in general. So I thought it was very well done, incredibly well shot. The performers were very natural and were able to reflect a lot of range, not just in their performances, in terms of delivering lines, but in terms of their physical performances, which a lot of the strongest aspects of the piece were done in silence or from silence from the lead actors. And I thought that it really contributed to a good sense of mood and a good sense of aesthetic that really created a lasting image in your mind.
Most of the film plays out in a conversation between a father and a daughter, but there are lots of little details that give great dimensionality to those characters, make you really care about them. And the way that they debate the central theme of the film gives weight to both sides, so it allows the audience to think it through on their own terms rather than being told what to think, which again trusts the audience and is a sign of clever, intelligent filmmaking. But also the fact that these nostalgic memories are captured with a camera, I think, to me, suggests that the film is making a comment about how so much of the current film industry is gripped by nostalgia, which again I think is a subtle but interesting and clever and really engaging idea. Also, I think it's got great use of lighting, the way that the present is done in these sort of cold blues, and then when the nostalgic memory is being evoked, it shifts to these really warm ambers. But then as soon as that's done and the memory is being developed in the darkroom, you have the red of the darkroom, which I think very subtly introduces this sense of danger into the nostalgia. So I think the fact that it can tell its story in color is genuinely great, really intelligent. And then obviously it has this very emotional gut punch of an ending, which you don't quite see coming, but is inevitable, and it adds great emotional weight and meaning to these themes, and the discussion of these themes really leaves you thinking and feeling.
I like the father and daughter relationship in this one. They seem very close. I like the idea of the memory retrieval business, and that it's very realistic, that it's kept in a warehouse building. They play off each other well, and you get an idea of their world as they serve customers. And there's a touching scene where the father is helping a new customer, and the memory retrieval happens to him. And he thinks of his daughter and sees her in his mind growing old. That was skillfully done. I like that. By the end, the takeaway for me was that reliving old memories isn't the best way to grieve, and that we've got to learn to move on while keeping memories alive in other ways.
It really goes through your heart and your soul. The ending is absolutely surprising and unexpected. The struggles of the main character are real, and we can feel his conflict, because he's the one who created this machine, this way to take the memories from the brain and just home, pulling them out in the real world so that people can relive those memories. It is a very similar reminiscent of a very famous episode of Black Mirror where people were able, through a device, to just relive their memories as they were watching a movie. And it's absolutely compelling, I would say, the way the main character he's got this conflict against himself because he's the one who created the special device, but he also hates it. He hates people that use it because he thinks they shouldn't be wasting time with memories, with the past. And then in the end, we find out that he's the last of them. He became his own customer after he lost his daughter. It's a very touching and unexpected, and I also praise the very indie style of the film. Strong premise, strong screenplay, one location only with just a few characters. That's the best way to make a short movie.
It really put me in mind of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, not just because of the subject material, but also in the way that you kind of took a relatively mundane location and wove a sci-fi story around it. It had a sort of a similar, really just like impressive use of resources, and I really thought that this was firing on all cylinders. It was, I thought it was really, really beautifully story driven, and I love that it was just this meditation on memory and, and whether memories hold us back or whether they sort of free us to move forward. And I thought that sort of placing it all in the context of the photographic development was really smart. It all felt like sort of a natural continuation of what photographs are, because what are they but like preserved memories.
I loved what the director of photography did. They really created a mood it was kind of dark and gritty, but everything was sensationally lit. You could see everything. I thought that it was great. I also loved the fact that the filmmakers established the relationship between these two within the first 30 seconds of the film. So you just kind of validated what I thought was going on and that I thought it was father and daughter, but thank you for validating that. I love smart filmmaking. And this whole thing was smart. It was smart and it was creative and it was cool and it was brilliantly done. From the special effects to the fly, to the flickering light, to the reveal of what they're actually doing there and how they're actually in the business of reliving a memory. That's fantastic. I loved the twist. The ending was fantastic. It was sad, but it made a lot of sense. Your story was so well crafted, had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It was incredibly well acted, and it was shot beautifully.
This is a fascinating concept, and I love the use of this seemingly old and obsolete technology to capture these memories. Developing a memory. How exciting! I like the overlapping of memories when he's capturing the new one with the new customer, and how the daughter says that we keep on living partially due to our past memories and our past experiences. The twist is brilliantly nostalgic and deeply tragic. When you find out what it was that they showed you there and how it turned out, I just loved it.
I liked how slow they brought in like the full concept of what was happening there and what service they were providing, and how much she was kind of like more for it, even though he was the one that was like running it and, helping all these people. But he, was kind of adamant that that wasn't the way he wanted to live. And then you come to realize that the whole thing has been his memory that he's developed. And that's just like so beautiful and so sad at the same time. Like, it was haunting, and I thought they did it really, really well. The pace was just right, like the amount of time that they took was just right, because you really bonded to those people just to have, the kind of end realization that it was all a memory.
This film shows a very interesting concept of why we shouldn't dwell in memory. It is interesting that this guy's dark room is to let people relive their memories. Perhaps it would have been better if he had scanned people for their for any weapons or anything on them, and make sure they left all personal belongings in a different room. Because it does make it seem like he's trying to remember his wife when really he's trying to remember his daughter. The fact that he's actually impatient and living in his way in and of itself is a twist that you didn't really expect. It's that it was his daughter he was trying to remember, not his wife, because his wife made sense. It was predictable, but made sense. But the fact that he's reliving his daughter, who went ahead and ran after a woman with a gun, probably not smart, but she did, and it's a very interesting film for that reason alone, that you don't expect the twist.